She was newly engaged to the Prince of Orange, and despite a lack of spark for either of them, he was under her father's thumb, and therefore, when she asked for one request from her new husband-to-be, he refused her, much to his detriment. With her wedding day fast approaching, Charlotte made a fateful demand to the Prince of Orange. In addition to staying in England, she also insisted that her future husband let her mother, Caroline, be welcome in their home. Please continue to support my channel by subscribing. Her father still despised her mother, and in a bid to keep him happy, her husband-to-be refused, and Charlotte, in return, broke off her engagement with clear decisiveness. She had absolutely no qualms with ditching this man to the side and breaking off the marriage contract and the royal engagement, despite all consequences and damage to her reputation. Her father was mortified and profusely filled with anger. His reaction is hard to forget or forgive when he put her under house arrest, demanding that she keep only to her residence until he could convoy her to Windsor Castle and put her under an even more impenetrable lock and key. Again, Charlotte was rebellious like most teenagers are. She got word of her father's plans and literally ran out into the street to escape her fate. A bystander helped the princess into a hackney cab and fled into the arms of her mother, Caroline of Brunswick. She had messed with the wrong father, and an international incident was started as a result of her flee, and a warrant for arrest was made. Her mother's house became the centre point of an ever-escalating situation. Family members and politicians descended on the young princess. Some were armed with well-intentioned advice on how to proceed, while others, like her uncle, just wanted to help detain her on behalf of Prince George. She was left with no options once her whereabouts was known, and so she became a captive princess. He was far too powerful to escape, and she was placed on house arrest. This whole fiasco caused shame and gossip to the royal's door. The whole country had branded her a runaway princess, and her father was embarrassed and seething with anger. Her father, Prince George, responded with callous cruelty. The public were not silly, they knew which side they were on. Charlotte was well liked by the public, and the more she pushed back and rebelled, the tighter his grip became, until he had his staff watching her every move, every day. Charlotte's uncle tried to plead her case and allow her to move more freely, and he responded by cutting the man out of their lives entirely. With one broken and scandalous engagement behind her, her eyes began to wander once more when she became besotted by a Prussian prince. She wrote about him constantly and dreamed about marrying him and leaving the sparkless Prince of Orange into ancient history. However, this being Regency England, she knew that the Prussian would have to state his intentions to her father to get the ball rolling, and he hadn't yet come forward. Tragically, he never would. She was awaiting news on her new lover, but before the Christmas of 1814, she received devastating news that her new crush had taken up with a new lover, and her future with him was shattered. In her own words, the news gave her a very sudden and great shock. Charlotte had a plan B, however. While she was courting with the Prussian prince, she had also been seeing another man. The sensible Prince Leopold of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld was the plan B option, and she had spent a flirty 45 minutes in her private apartments during her engagement to the loathsome Prince of Orange. He had obviously made a good impression during these 45 minutes that he spent with her, and while her first choice had fallen in love elsewhere, she was willing to take up the next best thing, which was a good-tempered man with good sense. That man is the P of SC. Charlotte was determined to have Prince Leopold for herself by early 1815. She did not want another lover escaping her grasp, but it was going to be harder than she thought. Her father still wished for her to marry the Prince of Orange, despite all the scandal and drama that came with their engagement and breakup. Charlotte could not be persuaded by George, and even resorted to writing to him that no arguments, no threats shall ever bend me to marry this detested Dutchman. But that didn't mean her road to Leopold was scandal-free. She had managed to get her father to drop his obsession with the Prince of Orange, but this did not mean that he was willing to marry his daughter off to Leopold either. Leopold was poor, and the young prince was currently busy fighting Napoleon on the continent. Charlotte wanted to gauge Leopold's interest in her, and so she passed notes to third-party connections to see if he felt the same way. Leopold responded enthusiastically, and she must have been ecstatic, but Prince George would not make this easy for her. Instead, he gave her a brutal rejection. Join me in part 4 to learn about how her father made her new suitor jump through hoops for his approval. Please continue to support my channel by subscribing. Please comment, like and subscribe if you wish for more stories, and leave your suggestions below and I will endeavour to cover them.